You are standing on the largest organism on Earth. Not the blue whale, not the giant sequoia. An organism so vast it covers 2,300 acres. Older than the pyramids, older than written language. And you cannot see it, because 95% of its body lives underground. This is Armillaria ostoii, a single fungus, one organism, 2,200 years old. And it is just the beginning. What do you picture when someone says fungus? A mushroom, probably. Maybe mold on old bread. Perhaps the stuff that grows between your toes. But that's like thinking an apple is the entire tree. The mushroom is just the fruiting body, the reproductive structure, a flower made of fungus. The real organism, the body that has lived for potentially thousands of years, exists entirely underground. We call it mycelium, from the Greek word for mushroom, myx. Thread-like structures called hyphae, finer than spider silk, branching and reconnecting through soil, through wood, through rock. 1 teaspoon of healthy forest soil contains more than 8 miles of fungal threads. 8 miles in a teaspoon. And here's what most people get wrong about fungi. We were taught they're plants. After all, they don't move. They grow in soil. Mushrooms appear after rain like strange vegetable flowers. But fungi are not plants. They don't photosynthesize, can't turn sunlight into food. No chlorophyll, no leaves, no flowers. Instead, they do something plants cannot do. They digest externally. Fungi secrete enzymes, powerful chemicals, directly into their environment. These enzymes break down whatever surrounds them: wood, leaves, bone, rock. The fungi then absorb the dissolved nutrients. And genetically, fungi are closer to you than they are to plants. Both animals and fungi split from a common ancestor roughly 1.5 billion years ago. We share chitin in our DNA. The same material that forms insect exoskeletons forms fungal cell walls. When you eat a mushroom, you're eating something that shares more genetic history with you than with the lettuce on your plate. So if fungi aren't plants, what are they? They are their own kingdom, neither plant nor animal, a third form of complex life, and they are everywhere. In your gut right now, fungal species help digest food. On your skin, fungi form part of your microbiome. In the air you breathe, fungal spores drift by the billions. Scientists estimate there are somewhere between 3 and 12 million fungal species on Earth. We have identified only about 150,000. Fungi probably began in water over 1 billion years ago. Then, somewhere in Earth's deep history, they made the journey to land. And when they arrived, nothing was ready for them. 450 million years ago, there were no forests, no grass, no flowers, no trees, just bare stone under a hostile sky. The land was dead, lifeless, a graveyard planet. Then fungi arrived, not as mushrooms, as partnerships. Fungi wrapping around algae and cyanobacteria in structures we now call lichens. And they did something extraordinary. They ate the rock. Lichen fungi secrete oxalic acid and other compounds strong enough to dissolve granite, to break chemical bonds in stone. The minerals, calcium, iron, phosphorus, washed into the broken rock, mixing with fungal and algal remains. Soil. The first soil on Earth was made by fungi. But plants couldn't conquer land alone. We imagine early plants as pioneers, brave green organisms pulling themselves from the sea to colonize the harsh continents, adapting, evolving, surviving through their own tenacity. And yet, recent research reveals something different. Plants didn't colonize land. Fungi carried them there. Here's the problem early plants faced. Their roots couldn't extract minerals from rock fragments. No enzymes to dissolve stone. No chemical tools to break down the hard materials that held phosphorus, nitrogen, iron. But fungi had spent millions of years doing exactly that. So, approximately 450 million years ago, plants and fungi made a deal. We call it mycorrhizal symbiosis. From myco, fungus, and rhiza, root. The plant would photosynthesize, capture sunlight and convert it to sugars, carbon-rich food. The fungus would mine the soil, dissolving minerals, absorbing water, extending the plant's reach 100-fold. Then they would trade. It wasn't competition, it was negotiation. And it worked. By the Devonian period, roughly 400 million years ago, the first forests appeared. Primitive plants, some 30 feet tall, spread across the continents. But look beneath the surface. Every root connected to fungal partners. Every plant dependent on the network. Today, more than 90% of all plant species maintain this ancient partnership. When you see a flower, you're seeing the visible 10%. The 90% keeping it alive lives in darkness. But there was still a problem. Nothing could die. Plants had evolved lignin, a complex molecule that gives wood its strength. Incredibly stable, incredibly resistant to decay. When early trees died, they just stayed there, stacking up, accumulating. During the Carboniferous period, 300 million years ago, dead plant matter piled so high, it compressed into coal. The coal we burn today comes from this era, when nothing had evolved to break down wood. Until fungi learned to eat death itself. Fungi developed enzymes called lignin peroxidases, chemicals capable of breaking the chemical bonds in wood. When a tree dies, fungi don't see an ending. They see raw material. Carbon locked in lignin gets released. Nitrogen returns to soil. Phosphorus becomes available again. Death becomes food. Endings become beginnings. Without fungi, the carbon cycle would halt. Dead matter would accumulate infinitely. Life would choke on its own remains. Fungi don't just recycle nutrients. They recycle time itself. For most of human history, we looked at forests and saw individuals. Trees competing for sunlight, fighting for water, struggling against neighbors. We were wrong. Beneath the forest floor lies a network. Fungal threads connecting tree to tree. Hundreds of trees, different species, linked through billions of fungal highways. We call it the Wood Wide Web. In 1997, ecologist Suzanne Simard at the University of British Columbia performed an experiment that would change how we understand forests. She injected radioactive carbon into one tree, and waited. Within days, the carbon appeared in neighboring trees. Different species, dozens of meters away. It was traveling through the fungal network. Not just carbon, water, nutrients, chemical signals. Simard discovered that the largest, oldest trees, what she calls mother trees, act as hubs, network centers connected to hundreds of younger trees. And they do something almost intentional. They send extra carbon to struggling saplings, particularly to their own offspring, trees they can identify genetically through chemical signals. Now, there's debate about exactly how this works. Recent 2024 and 2025 studies question whether nutrients always travel through continuous fungal connections, or sometimes through soil pathways. Whether the amounts matter to tree health, whether fungi are deliberately facilitating transfer, or if it's a side effect of their own foraging. But what isn't debated is this: forests are connected. Trees share resources, and fungal networks make it possible. Perhaps it's not as simple as an internet of trees. Perhaps it's more complex. Multiple pathways, multiple mechanisms, an ecology we're only beginning to understand. But that makes it more remarkable, not less. The network does more than transfer nutrients. It transmits warnings. When insects attack a tree, that tree produces defensive compounds. But here's what's extraordinary. Neighboring trees, connected by fungal networks, begin producing the same defensive compounds before the insects reach them. The attacked tree sends chemical distress signals through fungal threads. The network amplifies them, distributes them. In 2025 studies with wheat, mycorrhizal fungi triggered disease resistance genes, providing 78% protection against fungal pathogens. For centuries, we taught that nature was a battlefield. Survival of the fittest, competition, dominance. And yes, that exists. But beneath the visible struggle, there's conversation, there's sharing, there's care. When trees die, they don't hoard their resources. Recent 2024 research from INRIA, using machine learning to visualize fungal networks, shows that dying trees actively download their remaining carbon and nutrients into the network. Their last act is generosity. Forests aren't collections of individuals, they're superorganisms. And the fungi are the nervous system. Humans produce over 400 million tons of plastic every year. By 2050, there will be more plastic in the ocean than fish. We've created materials that nothing can break down, polymers that resist every natural process, chemicals that persist for centuries. Except fungi. In 2011, Yale students on a research trip to the Amazon rainforest discovered something extraordinary. A fungus called Pestalodiopsis microspora eating polyurethane plastic. Not just tolerating it, using it as its primary food source. Within 2 weeks, the fungus had broken down polyester polyurethane, one of the most common plastics, turning something we thought was permanent into organic matter. In 2024, oyster mushrooms broke down cigarette butts, which contain microplastics and toxic chemicals, in just 7 days. More than 70 fungal species have now been identified that can digest various plastics: polyethylene, polystyrene, polypropylene, PVC. They secrete enzymes, peroxidases, lacases, cutinases, that literally cleave the chemical bonds holding polymers together. But it gets more remarkable. Inside the ruins of Chernobyl's destroyed nuclear reactor, where radiation levels would kill most life in minutes, fungi are thriving. Black fungi, rich in melanin, the same pigment in human skin, do something that seems impossible. They perform radiosynthesis, converting gamma radiation into chemical energy. Like photosynthesis converts light into energy, these fungi convert deadly radiation into fuel for growth. In December 2025, activists in New Hampshire proposed using white rot fungi to clean up forever chemicals, PFAS contamination that conventional methods cannot remove. Fungi that eat oil spills, fungi that absorb heavy metals, fungi that break down pesticides and pharmaceutical waste. Recent studies show removal rates of 98% zinc, 95% lead, 63% cadmium from contaminated water. Fungi don't just recycle nutrients, they recycle catastrophes. They turn death into life, pollution into food, radiation into energy. They are nature's reset button, and we're only beginning to understand what they might teach us. But there's something we need to talk about. Every time we till agricultural soil, we destroy fungal networks that took decades to build. Every application of fungicides, designed to kill harmful fungi, kills the beneficial ones too. Every acre of old-growth forest we cut severs ancient networks. Some mother trees are connected to over 300 surrounding trees. When we remove them, we don't just lose one tree. We break the network. And as climate shifts, fungal networks struggle to adapt. 2025 research shows that while fungi can spread through soil faster than trees can migrate, disrupted networks leave forests vulnerable. A study published in Nature in July 2025 mapped global fungal diversity for the first time. The finding? Less than 10% of predicted mycorrhizal richness hotspots currently exist in protected areas. We are destroying something we don't yet fully understand, something that built the world we live in. But we can change this. We can work with fungi instead of against them. No-till farming preserves networks. Cover crops feed fungi. Mycorrhizal inoculation helps degraded soils heal. Forestry that retains mother trees, that leaves networks intact, that understands forests as communities, not crops. And the solutions fungi offer us? They're just beginning. Mycelium packaging that biodegrades in weeks. Leather grown from fungi, no animals required. Construction materials stronger than concrete, grown in days. Protein-rich food produced from fungal cultivation using a fraction of the resources of conventional agriculture. Medical applications, from FDA-approved psilocybin therapy for depression to compounds that fight antibiotic-resistant infections. In 2024 alone, researchers discovered 907 new bioactive compounds from fungi, a 153% increase in terpenoid discoveries from the previous year. 450 million years ago, fungi built the world. They broke stone into soil. They carried plants to land. They constructed networks that feed every forest. Today, beneath your feet, right now, there are more miles of fungal threads than stars in the Milky Way galaxy. An invisible architecture, patient, persistent, ancient. They've been teaching us something all along, that survival isn't about domination, it's about connection. That the strongest ecosystems aren't the ones where individuals fight, but the ones where they share. The fungi are offering us a blueprint for how to clean up our mess, for how to feed ourselves sustainably, for how to build without destroying, for how to remember that we're not separate from nature.
We're part of the network.
The conversation is happening right now. In darkness, in soil, in silence. Between roots and threads. Between what dies and what grows. We're only beginning to learn the language, but the network has been waiting. This is Cosmic Canvas, where we uncover the hidden partnerships that built the world. Until next time, remember that survival isn't about fighting for sunlight. It's about sharing what you find in the darkness.